In a deserted place, various mages and warriors are fighting with our protagonist, telling him it's over, calling our protagonist's name, "It's over, Zeke," and attacking our protagonist with all his strength and incredible speed. But before the attack reaches our protagonist, he cuts through the attack and comes out unscathed. The priestess starts praying and blesses the hero with more power. Well, it turns out the yellow-haired guy with the big sword is a hero. Anyways, the hero attacks the protagonist again with the same attack as before, but with buffs. Our hero, while facing the attack, thinks that he won't be able to block this attack, and gets hit by the powerful attack, and is sent flying. While in midair, he contemplates about what a fitting end he is having for a demon king and passes out. Then he is woken up because of loud noises and sees the hero standing right in front of him with shining yellow hair and blue eyes, and thinks that he is arrogant, but also good-looking. Then the hero asks our protagonist to listen carefully, calling him Zeke more, and says he will list all his evil deeds before he finishes him off. The hero starts listing the crimes of the protagonist, telling him that he killed hundreds of Carwoodman knights and innocent lives. The protagonist gets annoyed, thinking the hero is giving him a speech. Then the hero tells Zeke that he will judge him for all his crimes. Zeke thinks it's a shame to die like this, but good thing he kept the fate-twisting key. Thanks to this, he will be able to stab this bastard one last time. The fate-twisting key is an item which twists the fate of the target to change the future, but it is unknown how the future is changed. Then our protagonist sees the hero above him preparing for the final strike, and wishes our protagonist that he will be someone who does good in his next life. And our hero replies he will, if he gets a chance, but not now. Then the hero says in surprise, "What?" Then our protagonist says that he has to do something real quick, and tells him that it's to fuck him over, and with a flick of the finger hits him. The hero recognizes what it is, and ponders how does the MC have that. With anger, Zeke is happy to see him angry for the last time. Then the hero swings his sword and decapitates our protagonist in one strike, and everything goes black. Then our protagonist wakes up in a different place in a bed, and wonders how is he alive, and became younger. He clearly remembers that he got beaten up by the hero, and he used the fate-twisting key but can't remember how he got that. But now the protagonist is sure that he came back to the past, and since he is in his room, he assumes that he is still living with his family now, wonders what he should do now. Then suddenly the door to his room opens. He notices, and thinks if it is all right for someone to barge in the room of the noble family's oldest son. Then a servant comes in the room, asking if the protagonist is still in his room. Looking at the servant, Zeke doesn't recognize him but thinks that at least he is addressing him correctly. He tells Zeke that he can't afford to be lazy. Then the protagonist tells the servant to come closer politely. The servant asks our protagonist to say something and receives a punch to the face. The servant asks what our protagonist is doing, but our protagonist is indifferent and beats him until a knight comes to the room because of the commotion. The knight is Binor. The servant hides behind the knight and asks our protagonist about the situation. The protagonist thinks about the rude behavior of the knight. The knight, angered, asks the protagonist why is he not answering. Fed up by his rude behavior, the protagonist asks Sir Binor if he should be talking to the protagonist that way. In turn, Sir Binor provokes the protagonist, asking if he is going to beat him too. He laughs and says sure, and threatens Sir Binor, saying a dog that can't even recognize his own master needs a beating to lower his tail. Sir Binor asks in surprise if he thinks the protagonist can beat him, and if he is that skilled. The Missy admits that he can't win against him with his current body, but he has to train an obedient dog. The knight gets angry by the insult and asks the protagonist if he knows who he is. Then our MSC throws the tablecloth on the knight and hits him with a flower pot, and tells Sir Binor that being strong is not everything. He looks back to the servant and beats him again. Later, the MC is standing outside his father's office and opens the door without much fear. Inside, there are many people present with his father, including the knight. In a flashback, we see Zeke's half-brother Greg telling Sir Binor that his father is disappointed for him collapsing to the ground and being a disgrace, but reassures him that he did nothing wrong, and tells him to be confident, seeing that his opponent is Zeke. Back to the present, Count Vordo tells our protagonist that he is late, and our protagonist asks why the Count called. The Count gets angry, saying that our hero has forgotten how to greet others now. Our hero replies, "What's the point if he is not going to accept it?" Hearing that, the Count gets furious and says how is he going to succeed him if he keeps acting like that, telling him that he is the main heir of the family. Our hero, with a smirk, asks the Count if he ever thought of giving him the title. The Count gets angry and calls our MC a brat. Then Zeke's stepmother intervenes, calling our Zeke ill-mannered. Our protagonist smirks, thinking that he remembers them desperately trying to get him. Then he bows and says, "How could I be disrespectful towards you? It must be a misunderstanding," and moves toward a sword on the wall, asking for his father's forgiveness, saying that he made a mistake, and grabs the sword. Everyone is shocked in the room. Then our hero Zeke points the sword at Hans the servant. The Count scolds Zeke for pointing a sword at someone in front of him while Greg smirks. Our MC Zeke says that the neck of the person who humiliated the Count Steelwill heir should be cut down. Mick's stepmother stops him and asks if Hans really humiliated him, and Hans defends himself by asking how he could do that. Zeke strikes the sword on the floor and asks Hans if he is lying. Hans panics and thinks if he answers wrong, then he will definitely die. Hans tries to answer while our hero thinks that the servant is one of the Countess's people. But why is she helping him? Sir Bynor intervenes, telling everyone that Zeke is lying. Zeke's stepmother, relieved, asks Sir Bynor if what he is saying is true, and Sir Bynor replies with a yes, and claims that Zeke assaulted him and Hans. Zeke asks Sir Bynor if he is saying that a knight got beat up by him, and asks if he won't admit his fault and claim innocence to the very end. In that case, prove it with your skills. Then he asks his father if it is good in his point of view, and states that they can use this chance to get rid of him completely if he loses in the duel. Then his father allows it. The protagonist thanks his father and tells him to decide on the time and place on his own. The Count thinks that he was only planning on scolding him a bit, but is satisfied that he could use this chance to pass on the title to his half-brother, Greg. The MC, while placing the sword back in its place, calls his father and states that he wants to try changing too now, and that he has realized that he won't be able to get what he wants if he stays like he was in the past. His father asks, what does he mean by that? Does he want the title of Count? Our protagonist replies that anything he says will not reach him, and says he'll see him on the day of the duel, and leaves. Later, we see our protagonist training. He was thinking about how weak and naive he was. For him, his father's attention was everything, and yet he couldn't even learn swordsmanship, and how he didn't know the great and destructive potential he had in the past. And we learn that the amount of mana is innately determined. And suddenly he feels a pain in his heart. He plunges the sword in the ground and grabs his chest in pain. An explosion happens, sending him backwards. Lying down, he admits that trying to gain mana he once had in the past all at once was too much, and the mana, which is comparable to a dragon, could awaken in him all at once. And he thinks obtaining the title of the demon King of Power was hard, to the point that it seems someone planned it all from the beginning. Standing up, our MC notices someone watching and tells them to stop and leave. Then our protagonist's brother comes out from behind the tree and notices that the MC's mana has awakened, and asks if our hero thinks that it's possible with that level of skill. And with a stupid grin on his face, asks our hero why is he doing things that are not like him, and tells him to just live like before, reading in a room. Our MC just looks at him with menacing eyes and asks Greg if he is scared that our MC will take the position of Count. His brother denies the provocation and says that it's not right to become the Count if he can't even defeat our MC. Then our MC says he will do what Greg wants and suggests a duel like a family of warriors. Greg pushes our MC's hand away and asks if he is suggesting a duel, and his brother agrees to the duel. Our MC leaves, saying that he will decide the time and place. The scene takes us on the day of the duel, where our MC is facing Sir Bynor in the arena. Sir Bynor tells our MC that today he will teach our MC a lesson, and states that he will regret not wearing an armor. Another knight starts the duel. Bynor moves towards our MC at great speed and attacks him. Our MC thinks his attacks are heavy. Sir Bynor catches on and attacks our MC with a flurry of attacks. Our MC barely blocks them and steps back. Sir Bynor uses aura and hits our MC with one more attack. Our MC blocks that too with a worried face. In the spectating area, the butler tells the Count that the MC is fighting better than expected. MC's mother intervenes, saying that they have a clear advantage. The butler agrees, and the Count watches without saying anything. The crowd cheers for Sir Bynor. Hearing that, he tells the MC that the crowd wants him to finish this, smiling, and attacks the MC once again, and warns the MC to surrender if he doesn't want to get hurt. And our hero refuses and states that it is just the beginning, and moves towards the knight and uses sense extension. Sir Bynor was surprised, but evaded all of the attacks. The ground was destroyed. Zeke stopped and looked at his sword and thought, I knew it. My mana is going out of control. The crowd murmured, What did I just witness? Others said, I saw it too. I don't believe it. Just now, Sir Zeke, the family butler, with shock, said, Did you see that, Count? It's a skill that expands the senses. It's where you match your sword and body through mana. Everyone was shocked. Knight Bynor thought, when did he learn a skill like that? But his stance when using mana is poor. It's like his body and mana are separate, and he can't control it. He said, let's stop playing around now. He rushed towards Zeke with aura in his sword and attacked with a beam-like attack. Seeing Zeke dodge it, he thought he dodged it. But my attack is not over, and said you won't be able to dodge this, and attacked Zeke with a powerful attack, Space Slash, which sent Zeke crashing towards the wall, making a crater on the wall. Watching this, the crowd praised the knight. The knight, seeing Zeke on the ground, said, I believe the victory is already decided. How long do I have to do that? Until the young master's life is at risk, and starts to celebrate. As the crowd roars, MC stands up again and says, right, I can't win against you with this body's technique. In battle, you fight for real. Screaming out Bynor's name, he swings his sword and hits him with a powerful sand slash. Well, he just throws sand in his face. As Bynor is caught off guard, Zeke hits him with a shoulder bash and knocks him to the ground. As he struggles to open his eyes, Zeke moves closer to Bynor, puts his sword to his neck, and says, Coward, you say. Try saying that to justify your defeat in a real fight. And reluctantly, he surrenders. Zeke tells Bynor, do you know why you were bound to lose? Recklessness and arrogance. Apprehension that you might end up killing the oldest son of the family you serve. If you don't forget today's battle, you will grow even stronger. Another knight declares Zeke as the victor of the duel. As everyone is watching, shocked, the crowd shouts, how could he throw sand in his eyes? How underhanded. That's cheating, be fair, damn it. Others say, how unknightly. Zeke, nonchalantly picking his ear, says, how noisy. It's all good as long as I win, isn't it? The Count asks, when did Zeke learn magic techniques? There is no way someone taught him. The butler replies, Count, you haven't caught on already. He is born with it. His brother Greg is gritting his teeth with frustration, thinking how is he fine even after being hit by Bynor's space slash. That lowly Zeke, no way. He is snapped out of it by our Zeke, calling out his name and challenging him to a duel, commenting on the deal made before. The Count is unaware of what he is saying. Zeke asks if you are going to act oblivious. I already know that you already agreed to it, father. The spectators gossip among themselves, saying so the rumors are true after all, and that the duel will take place today, and wonder if the MC is going to fight in that condition. Zeke asks Greg in a loud voice, what are you doing, Greg? Get down here right now, asking if he is scared. The Count tells Greg to get down there, asking why are you scared when Zeke is in such a mess, and tells him not to bring any further disgrace to the family. Then Greg gets his ass down to the arena. Seeing Zeke, he thinks why the hell is he smiling like that? Then Zeke asks Greg why are you standing still and if he has to attack first. Then Zeke moves towards Greg, attacking him. They both lock swords, and Greg realizes that Zeke is not applying enough strength, and pushes Zeke back. Zeke realizes the wound Binor inflicted on him is an ordinary one, and he can't use any mana now and has to end this match as quickly as possible. And Zeke starts like the Demon King, asking Greg, "Have you ever heard of a bloody fight with flesh flying everywhere?" Wraps aura around his hand and catches Greg's sword and breaks it and asks Greg, "If you don't surrender right now, then you are going to die." Then Zeke hits Greg with the hilt of his own sword in the face and knocks him on the ground and looks at him with menacing eyes. Greg, scared, admits defeat. Another knight declares Zeke the winner of the duel. Many people watch, dumbfounded. Zeke calls his father for his victory and asks him about the promise he made, that the title of Count would go to the victor of the duel. The Count defends, saying that this kind of duel won't decide anything. Zeke just stands there, not surprised by his father's actions, while people wonder if the great Steel Will family will break their promise. Zeke replies, "Well, I anticipated this, saying I never actually wanted the damn title even once in my life," and throws a silver ring toward his father. Seeing this, his father got furious and asked, "What are you doing right now?" While his mother tries to calm the Count down. Zeke replied, "What does it look like? I am leaving the family on my own." While Greg was being taken out of the arena, Zeke calls out to him, telling him to win in a fight you must never fear death. And if you want to protect the territory and everyone, you must get stronger, and takes the potion from the priest's hands and drinks it to heal himself. Then we see him outside the gate of the Steelwill mansion with Hans, which he took out as porter. In a flashback, we come to know that Hans was doing his normal chores. Zeke just told him that he is going to be his porter, and when he refused, Zeke just threatened him with death. In the present, Zeke tosses all his luggage on Hans, telling him to carry it, thinking that he forgave Hans for acting up against him, and thinks that he is too kind, while Hans is carrying the luggage with difficulty. Looking back, Zeke thinks that I have to increase his stamina for him to be of any use, and Zeke tells Hans to call him Sir Zeke from now on which Hans agrees. Hans asks Zeke, "What is your plan for the future?" To which Zeke replies that he doesn't have any fixed plans. After thinking, he decides to go to the territory of Porty. While traveling, MC thinks that he should live kindly in this life. Traveling through a forest, Hans tells Zeke this path isn't made for humans. Zeke replies that he knows, and adds that if they go straight, they have to go half the distance. So why would they take the long path? To this, Hans says that if they go far from the places where people live, there are monsters roaming around. Zeke states that's exactly why they are here. To this, Hans says, "I see, excuse me." Then Hans hears a noise coming from behind the bushes and looks back, sweating, thinks that I must have heard wrong, and hopes that they both get past this place as soon as possible. Then Zeke suddenly stops and hands Hans a sword, saying, "Your test starts now." Hans is dumbfounded. Zeke tells Hans to look behind him. Hans asks, what does he mean? But when Hans looks behind, seeing a goblin, he is shocked and stupefied. Hans, in fear, tells Zeke that he doesn't even know how to wield a sword, and asks him to at least give him a bigger sword. To which Zeke tells Hans to be satisfied. Otherwise, he will hand him a stick, and asks him if he would prefer a stick more. Well, I think the goblin's patience has run out, and he decided to jump on Hans's face. As Hans struggles against the zombie, Zeke is dumbfounded and finishes the goblin in one punch, knocking him to the ground. Hans gets up with a swollen face and asks Zeke why he is doing this to him, to which Zeke replies that it is because he is too weak, telling him that he at least has to train to protect himself. Handing him a potion, Zeke tells him to get ready again, as he only knocked down the goblin, and it will wake up soon. After some time and after drinking many potions, Hans is still fighting the goblin with a sword in hand. He starts to move toward the goblin, trying to hit him, but the zombie dodges. Then, the goblin swings his bunk stick and hits Hans. Zeke, seeing this, thinks that the rookie actually dodged the goblin's attack, questioning if he is talented after all. Then Hans moves in front of the goblin very quickly, which surprises the goblin, and after that Hans stabs the goblin in the head and kills it. After the battle is over, Hans is shocked that he killed the goblin, and celebrates in joy. Zeke hands him a potion praising him for the victory, to which Hans thanks him. Looking around, they notice that more goblins have arrived. Hans, looking at the goblins, starts sweating while Zeke calmly looks down, picks a few stones, and throws them at the goblins, hitting them square on the head, killing them instantly. The goblins are scattered dead on the ground, and seeing Hans on the ground, Zeke asks why he is so shocked. This is just the start. While Hans asks Zeke what he means by that. This time, orcs show up behind them, and seeing them, Hans turns to stone, not believing his eyes, so Zeke assures him that he has plenty of potions. The scene then shifts to a night sky where both are resting near a bonfire. Hans is laying down tired while Zeke is on the watch, and Zeke remembers a time when he asked Hans why his stepmother sided with him so much, to which Hans tells him that his grandmother. Then Zeke remembers there being a young servant that his stepmother bullied, and Hans thinks it was him. Then Zeke asks Hans if he remembers his mother, to which Hans replies that he does. And she was a great person. Zeke remembers that he was hated by the Count's family because of his mother, and considering all the wrongdoings she committed, he feels pity for the Count's family. Suddenly, he hears a carriage passing by, quickly gets up and wakes Hans. Hans, still sleepy, says he doesn't think it's dawn yet, but Zeke tells him that something is coming this way. Hans jolts up asking if it's goblins or orcs, but the carriage is moving with speed, and Hans wonders if it could be a merchant, to which Zeke replies that the carriage is not very noisy, since the shaft horses merchants use make a lot of noise. Hans asks if it could be a traveler like them, but Zeke denies it, saying that no traveler would be going around with a carriage. Just then knights appear, and Zeke thinks they are paladins. Then a lady gets off from the carriage, apologizing and saying she wanted to camp for the night there as well. The woman is none other than Luvella, a believer of Karna. Zeke recognizes her from his past life as the Saintess of Carvedman, and thinks about the possibility of meeting her there. Then an old man steps forward and greets Zeke, introducing himself as Wige, who is serving Lady Luvella, a Saintess candidate. Zeke in turn calls him Tesnias, killing machine, and thinks that he is going to live well in this life, so it would be okay to get acquainted with people different from his previous life. Zeke looks for Hans, but finds him already kneeling before the Saintess, introducing himself to her. Then two knights are seen building a tent, and asking if someone could help them. The Saintess offers her help, but Hans stops her, saying that he will help instead, then goes and helps the knights with a bit too much energy. Zeke, seeing that, comments that he is out of his mind, thinking of course the Saintess is unrealistically beautiful. The Saintess then asks Zeke if she could sit beside him, to which he agrees, and Luvella thanks him, then thanks him again for permitting them to camp there for the night. Zeke brushes it off as nothing, and feeling awkward sitting beside her, he asks what brings them here, to which Luvella replies that she is traveling to hear the stories of many kinds of people, and whenever she comes across someone in need of help, she gives them prayers of blessing. Zeke tells her that's amazing, but Luvella disagrees, saying that it is something a member of Carwoodman should do. Luvella then asks Zeke why they are there, and Zeke says that he is trying to find a way to live like a kind person, asking her if she could tell him how to be a kind person. Luvella is surprised by the question. Then Zeke explains that someone told him to do more good, but he feels like she would be the best person to ask for advice. Luvella thinks for a moment, and says that there are various ways to do so, asking if there is anything he is good at. Zeke says he is good at things that require strength. Then Luvella tells him that he should use that strength to help those in need. Zeke, with a serious face, ponders on the advice, stands up, and says that he will start looking tomorrow for people in need. The next day, Zeke and the others reach the city of Porti. People are talking among themselves, and children are playing, while old man Wige and Saintess Luvella are walking together. Wige notices that all the shops are under construction, and Luvella agrees. Then Wige excuses himself, saying that he has to take care of an order quickly, to which Luvella tells him to be careful. The old man leaves, and as Luvella is also about to leave, suddenly she hears a scream coming from the alley, so she goes in to check. Both Luvella and her knight enter the alley, and Luvella says someone screamed over there, to which her guard offers to go ahead and check. Luvella then sees a man being beaten, and her guard steps forward, loudly telling them to stop. But Luvella is shocked to see that the person throwing the punches is none other than Zeke. Later at a restaurant, Luvella scolds Zeke, telling him that he can't be helping bad people. But Zeke argues that they looked like they needed help, to which Luvella replies that's not all there is to it, telling him to help only those who are weak instead, and not to be violent. But the man being beaten says it's all right and introduces himself as Sud, thanking them for saving his life, which Luvella accepts, then asks what happened. Sud tells them that the bad guys from earlier demanded that he hand over his shop, saying that they belonged to the Sheeran trading house and had bribed the mayor with too much money. To them it probably looked like some old shop, but to him it was important, full of memories with his grandfather, so he refused to give up the right. The Saintess holds his hands and tells him not to worry, that she will go meet the mayor of Porty right away. But her knight reminds her that the Carwoodman can't get involved in politics. Still, she resolves that she cannot ignore this as someone who received the teachings of Lady Carna, confidently declaring that she will resolve this and leave the matter to her. The next day, people are chatting on the streets. Hans asks Zeke what he is thinking about, noticing that he looks mad. Zeke tells Hans he was thinking about what Luvella said about helping the weak, and asks if Hans thinks she was serious, but Zeke thinks she is mistaken, to which Hans insists that Zeke is the mistaken one. Suddenly, Zeke grabs Hans' face and says that he is concerned because Luvella didn't come back yesterday. Then he hears some people in a crowd talking about a wanted poster, so he goes to check it out. Hearing a man saying that a woman killed the mayor, Zeke looks and is shocked to see that the poster belongs to Luvella, wanted for the crime of murdering the mayor and trying to curse Porty. Seeing the poster, Hans, with a worried face, asks Zeke what is going on, gasping. Zeke feels like something is strange, and seeing the people murmuring that it's because of the witches' curse that the whole city is a mess, someone else says that the sun is setting now, and they should get back quickly before they run into them, so the people leave in a hurry, going to their homes and shutting their windows. Hans gets scared at the sight and asks Zeke what is going on, to which Zeke replies that something feels off and they should also get going, and Hans agrees. As they walk, Zeke leads in front while Hans gets chills looking around. Zeke, analyzing the situation, tries to remember if there was an incident like this before he regressed, concluding that none of this happened before, neither Luvella killing the mayor, nor the curse in Porty, and wonders if things changed because he met the Saintess. Then Hans pulls Zeke's arm, calling him, telling him that someone is following them. And as the silhouette of a man approaches, Hans screams, seeing that it is an undead. Zeke steps forward and slices the man's neck in one strike. Hans, kneeling on the ground, asks why there is an undead in the city, to which Zeke replies, exactly, saying that he has a bad feeling about this. Later, Zeke is talking to the guards, telling them what happened, and the guards say they will take care of the corpse, handing them a torch and warning them to get back before they get struck by the witch's curse. After the guards leave, Hans asks Zeke if he thinks Lady Luvella is a witch, to which Zeke replies that it's impossible, saying he is sure that someone framed her. Hans asks how he is so sure that someone framed Luvella, and Zeke replies because Luvella is, then stops, and Hans presses again, saying that he knows something. Zeke can't say that it's because he regressed, so he jokes that it's written all over her face, that she is a kind person, to which Hans agrees. Suddenly, Zeke hears a noise and starts looking around Hans. Noticing him, asks what's wrong, but Zeke ignores him and walks off. After a while, he finds someone sitting in a corner and asks what she is doing there in that state, and Hans is shocked to see Luvella sitting there with ragged clothes. Later, all of them go to the inn, and Luvella walks out wearing fresh clothes. Zeke asks if the clothes are okay, and Luvella says they are comfortable. Then she grabs a chair while Zeke tells her that Hans went out to buy food for dinner and will be back soon. Luvella thanks him as she sits. Then Zeke asks her about the paladins who were with her, and hearing that, Luvella looks down sadly, saying it is all her fault as tears fall on her hands. Zeke then places the wanted poster on the table and asks if by any chance it has anything to do with the wanted poster. Luvella tells him that she is not a witch, and Zeke says that he knows. And when Luvella asks in surprise if he really believes her, Zeke replies that he does, because she wouldn't do something this evil, then asks her to tell him what really happened on the day they departed.